Georgia condemns overlaying the deal. For putting the taxpayers of this state on the hook to pay settlements for his ethical violations. Be it further resolved that the Democratic Party of Georgia urges Governor Dill to pay these fines from his personal account. Okay, we'll be whistling all the way to November, and make sure that people hear that Democrats are going to be winning big in November. Yeah.
They also know that this U.S. Supreme Court has eviscerated the Voting Rights Act. And they look at the fact, ladies and gentlemen, that the upcoming elections are off-year elections. There'll be no president at the head of the ticket, no President Obama on the ballot. And so they figure that the Democrats just won't come out and vote. They believe that the politics of personal destruction and obstruction has produced a apathetic and hopeless electorate. And the media tells us every day that the mountain that we say we must climb is impossible. They say that it can never be done. Well, there's a great American poet by the name of Edgar Guest who wrote a poem which was entitled, "It Couldn't Be Done," and I want to read it to you. Somebody said that it couldn't be done, but he with a chuckle replied that maybe it couldn't, but he would be one who wouldn't say so till he tried. So he buckled right in with the trace of a grin on his face. If he worried he hit it, he started to sing as he tackled the thing that couldn't be done, and he did it. Somebody scoffed, "Oh, you'll never do that. At least no one has ever done it." But he took off his coat, and he took off his hat, and with a lift of his, took off his hat, he took off his coat, he took off his hat, and the first thing we knew, he'd begun it. With a lift of his chin and a bit of a grin, without any doubting or quitting, he started to sing as he tackled the thing that couldn't be done, and he did it. There are thousands to tell you it cannot be done. There are thousands to prophesy failure. There are thousands to point out to you one by one the dangers that await to assail you. But just buckle in with a bit of a grin. Just take off your coat and go to it. Just start to sing as you tackle the thing that couldn't be done, and you'll do it. So, ladies and gentlemen, I know that this was not a rah-rah speech, but I feel like I would be remiss if I left here without saying the following utterance. Fired up! Fired up! Fired up! Now blow the whistle.
Before I begin, I want to thank the chairman, Vogel, for allowing me to be here. I was so honored to get the call and to get the opportunity. I'm so humbled and so grateful to have the opportunity to run for the 1st Congressional District. I've got to do one thing. All of my people from the 1st Congressional District, stand up. Stay right there. Stay right there. Stay right there. I won't take up much of your time. The first thing is I'm so appreciative of the support, and I'm so appreciative of the leadership and the wisdom that you've given me, and I'm so grateful for what you've done and what we're going to do. So thank you. I appreciate you, and I need you more now than ever. Let me say this real quick. You can sit down. Let me say this real quickly. We have an amazing ticket in here. It's a ticket that's a dream ticket like none other. Within Georgia, we are already blue. We just need to make a decision to go get that which belongs to us. We need to make a decision to be after that which appears to be difficult but really is not. You need to make sure, without a doubt, that everyone that you know participates. You already know that women make up the majority of the voters in Georgia more than ever before. There's 900,000 registered African American women in Georgia. Let me tell you something and make it very clear. When President Barack Obama ran, 700,000 of them came out to vote both times. We still left 200,000 on the table. I have within my office something that I live by. It says, faith makes all things possible, not easy. And faith makes everything possible, but not easy. If you want to know how to get them out to vote, go get them. Don't be afraid to walk in the neighborhood where you think they may not participate. They're waiting for you to ask. They're waiting for you to show up. We have to go get them. We have to be proactive about showing up and pulling them out of the house. We have to be honest as Democrats and explain to them how important it is for them to participate. We have to understand that we're inclusive and not exclusive. We're a party for anyone who wants to be a part of us. I'm going to say this and I'm through. I have a tremendous amount of wisdom and respect for the generation that has opened doors for me. I'm 42 years old and I am no fool. I know that I've been benefited by the generation of Democrats that have gone before me and opened doors. And the reason we're running in this race is very clear. Those benefits are diminishing. And we're running for our children more than ever before. And in 2012 is when we make the stand. It's not making the stand in 2014 is when we make the stand. We don't make the stand in 2016 and 2018. This is the moment and this is the time we've got to stand. So I thank you. I love you. And I'm grateful to you. Let's go get it.
Okay, I'm a little bit out of my element here, I think. I am the minority candidate. It's an inclusive party. It is. I'm running with District 6. The current congressman is Tom Price, otherwise known as Tea Party Tom. Bless his heart. First of all, what color jacket do I have? What color tie? What color shirt? What color eyes? All right, a little bit about me. I grew up in a foreign country, New Jersey. Fortunately, I have parents that value education as much as you all value education. You cannot take away a person's education. You must value that above everything else. I was educated at Wight University, got a degree in economics. I went to Columbia University in the 60s, right after the riots here, and got a master's in finance. That was my first exposure to social issues, since I grew up in a rather unintegrated environment. I worked with a small businessman in Harlem, try and help him best I could. I'm a small businessman myself. I own a store. I've been in the corporate world, but I have social responsibility is high on my list. A lot of people in business also believe in social responsibility. One saying that we had during the Vietnam War was, better dead than red. I don't know why we don't do that more now. As a businessman, I'm focused on fiscal responsibility. We can achieve fiscal responsibility in this country without destroying Social Security and without destroying Medicare. Tom Price would destroy both of those given his chance. So, I have a great opportunity, I believe, to defeat him. I need the support of everybody. Get out the vote. And I'll do my part. Thank you very much.
Please welcome to the stage Thomas Wight, our Democratic nominee running in the 7th Congressional District.
I do not have to tell you how unpopular the obstructionist Republicans are in Congress. You already know. The people of the 7th District already know. It is time for us to stop the obstructionist Republicans in Congress. It is time for us to stop pretending that corporations are people. It is time for us to reverse the United States Supreme Court and its decisions in Citizens United and in Hobby Lobby. It is time for us to send congressmen to Washington that will change the definition of person to make it clear that corporations are not people. Together, we can do it. Together, we will do it. It is time for us to bring prosperity back to American workers. Ladies and gentlemen, I am not talking about raising the minimum wage. We can do better than that. It is time for us to break the corporate stranglehold on wages and benefits. It is time for us to force Congress to recognize that right to work is actually right to be poor. It is time for us to send congressmen to Washington that will work to reverse Taft-Hartley. it is time for us to recognize that unions protect workers. Together, we can do that. Together, we will do that. I've been campaigning in Gwinnett and Forsyth counties for the past 5 months. I've been talking to voters that live and work in the 7th Congressional District. I have learned that there is actually very little support in the 7th District for Congressman Rob Woodall. Let me tell you something about Rob Woodall. Rob Woodall co-sponsored 19 bills designed to eliminate the Affordable Care Act. 19. I'll go with that. Rob Woodall co-sponsored a bill that would allow corporations to stop paying workers overtime. Rob Woodall co-sponsored the resolution to sue President Obama for doing his job. Rob Woodall is part of the problem in Washington. You know it. I know it. The voters in the 7th District know it. It is time for you to win this election. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to take action now to send Rob Woodall home, wherever that is. I want everybody to pull out their smartphone. Go ahead, I've pulled mine out. I want everybody to pull out your smartphone. I want you to go to www.thomaswight.com. I want everybody to click on the Act Blue link. You know what that link does? That gives you an opportunity to take action now to send Rob Woodall home. I want you to take at least $5 worth of action right now. Seriously, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for us to stop the obstruction politics in Washington. It is time for us to turn Georgia and the 7th District blue. Together, we can do it. Together, we... Thank you very much.
Please welcome to the stage David Vogel, our Democratic nominee in the 9th Congressional District.
Introduction. It is so encouraging. It's the first time in this campaign I've been introduced by God. If you're from Atlanta, the numbers I'm going to mention here probably won't impress you.
Speak in the mic.
But if you're from Atlanta, the numbers I'm going to give you probably won't impress you. But in the 9th District, 2 years ago, we had an open seat. The Democratic candidate for that seat was intelligent, articulate, handsome, likable. He campaigned hard and got 24% of the vote. At the moment, I am running in a district in which there are only 3 local candidates running as Democrats. In most of the district, I'm the bottom of the ticket. But I am not here to depress you. If I was depressed, I wouldn't be doing this. I'm not depressed because I understand the difference between electioneering and organizing. And we have just started electioneering after a lot of organizing. And I have a list of more than 500 volunteers who were unknown to the Democratic Party 6 months ago. But I know that on the lists we've been calling, there are still 1,500 more that we haven't reached. We'll try. These are not volunteers who will come to your county meetings, but they will work if called upon to do so. So we have interviewed them all to find out what they are interested in doing, so that we do not waste our time calling people to phone bank when what they want to do is write letters. And by the way, we are about to have an event this week from Tuesday in Gainesville, and our opening shot was 3,100 handwritten postcards to voters in Gainesville. In the 9th district, that is a step forward. We are plowing the hardest red clay in Georgia, but we are motivated by the knowledge that there is real evil in the United States today. It is evil with an economic power the like of which the world has never seen. But that evil has something curiously in common with the evil power in the Lord of the Rings. Its power depends on its ability to instill fear and hopelessness in us. We do not, many of us, have millions of dollars to spend on elections, but we are the only opposition. And like it or not, win or lose, history has made a role for us. And that role is to stand up to them. At times, the task may seem arduous to us, but we must do it anyway. And we can do it knowing that there are other tasks that will be made light by the friendships we have made in this Democratic Party. Thank you.
Please welcome to the stage Ken Dious, our Democratic nominee in the 10th Congressional District.
Hello, fellow Democrats. My name is Ken Dious, spelled my last name D-I-O-U-S. I tell a lot of people you can pronounce it as Pius Dious. I'm from Athens, Georgia, and I'm an attorney there. I've been practicing law there for 40 years. To tell you a little bit about me, I went to undergrad there at the University of Georgia and got a degree in finance. I went to the University of Georgia and got a law degree. I got a little age on me, but I was the 7th African American that entered the University of Georgia back in the day when the University of Georgia was integrated. But I've been in Athens all my life. I spent a little while in New York doing civil rights litigation. And I have something that, you know, I've done a lot of voting rights cases. And I can read the tea leaves with anybody, anytime, any courtroom about voting rights cases. In the 10th district, they were rejoined the 10th district for 2 reasons. They took Georgia population increase, and they had to make room for another congressional district, and then they also went after John Barrow down in the 12th district, and they redrew the district. And as I was sitting there as a voting rights lawyer, and I say, I dare you to draw it in a manner that you have proposed. And they did it anyway. Not only did they, when they drew it, they said this: a Democrat may can win that district, but they're not going to go to the polling booth. They say in an off year, Democrats stay at home. And I say, not in 2014, they're not going to stay at home. But they went one step further. They gave me an even better gift as I was reading the tea leaves. See, the state of Georgia has three parties. You have the Tea Party, you got the Republican Party, and you got the Democratic Party. So they had 7 people in the race, and I said the Tea Party person is going to make the runoff. Then I said, you know, the Tea Party person may win the nomination. And the Tea Party person did win the nomination. But they gave me another gift. The Tea Party person they gave me was Jody Hecht. Jody Hecht made Paul Brown look like a Boy Scout. You can laugh at whatever you want, but I'm serious. He has insulted all the women. He says he's a strict constructionist, constitutional constructionist, and he wants everybody in America to have a tank. It's the same as the armed forces. He has insulted every religion but his, and he has told every woman what? You can't run for office, or you can't do anything unless you do it under auspices or the permission of your husband. So I am hoping that he has given me the female vote. And I'm hoping he has given me a lot of male votes. A lot of Republicans now are saying they just won't vote in the race at all. They will not vote in the 10th congressional race. I said, fine, stay at home. I'm going to encourage you. You can vote for me and stay at home, don't make any difference, but just do something. So I am saying I am not running not to win. I am saying that the 10th congressional district of Georgia in November can be turned blue. So I'm encouraging you, if you know anyone in the 10th congressional district, tell them about Jody Hecht. H-I-C-E. Just tell them to hit the internet and he will come up. Jody Hecht's been around for a long time. If some of you can remember back in Barrow County when they had the big argument about the 10 Commandments, that was Jody Hecht. He's been around for a while. So with your help, I expect to see you here next year. I'm hoping if everybody go out and vote at the 10 congressional congressmen as a Democrat. Thank you.
Thank you. Now this is the room that's going to elect these fine people of Congress. Let's give one more round of applause for all of them. Now we're going to hear from our statewide candidates for office. Thank you.
Please welcome the Democratic nominee for the Public Service Commissioner, Daniel Blackman.
I believe we're going to win in November, and I can believe we can do a lot better than that for our congressional candidates. I don't believe there's anywhere else in America where there's a candidate who's the grandson of a former president. There's nowhere else in America when we can elect a woman and send a woman to Washington, D.C., who's the daughter of a former United States Senator. There's not another ticket in the United States that's as inspirational and as qualified as what you have here in Georgia. With an individual like Irvin, whose grandfather, Tommy Irvin, served for 57 years in the United States, right here in Georgia, longer than any other Democrat that served in our country. And so I'm here to tell you that it's time for us as Democrats to not only be unapologetic, but to be excited, to be on fire, and to show this state that it truly is a blue state, because we have more voters here that are just unregistered, and if we do our part, we'll get them to the polls and they'll show up and vote. There's an ancient proverb that says if you want to run fast, run alone, but if you want to run far, run with others. And I am beyond excited and pleased and appreciative to have the opportunity this year to run for public service commission with people like you. Georgia in the last decade under Republican leadership has been the top 10 in 3 main categories. Number 1 in foreclosures, number 2 in bankruptcy, and number 3 in unemployment. Yet and still we have a governor in this state that's touting that this is the best place to do business. And I just testified to the EPA. Earlier, you heard that the EPA was having hearings right here in Georgia, and all 5 of our public service commissioners adamantly voted against and voiced their support against the Clean Energy Plan, which, by the way, in the state of Georgia, there are 300,000 children that suffer from asthma. And this plan that's been presented is a plan that 50 years from now, when we're remembering what President Obama did, when we remember his legacy, he's going to be remembered for health care, and we're going to get Jason Carter elected so we can have the Affordable Care Act right here in Georgia. But outside of the Affordable Care Act, one of the things that President Obama will be remembered for is this Clean Energy Plan. A plan for us to put in place renewable energy standards that'll help us to promote clean energy in this country, and right here in Georgia. Right here in Georgia, we have a plant outside of Macon that emits about 21 megatons of carbon per year. 21 million megatons, that's the equivalent of the entire state of Maine. We've got to do a better job of, 1, showing up as Democrats and standing up for what we know is right, because there are people around this state that are waiting for us to show up and give this state the leadership it needs to put us back on track to where we need to go. That's number 1. But number 2, as I look around this room, I'll be honest with you, there are a couple 100,000 people that are registered around the state that just need you to remind them why it's important to vote. And I got to Georgia in 1988. I'm the son of a United States Army Airborne Ranger. And to all the veterans that are here, we appreciate you. We can go ahead and give it up for the veterans. Now, I've got about another minute, so I'm going to be quick because I want your support and I don't want to get talked about the guy that took up all the time. But what I'll say to you really quickly is that right here in this room, we have the opportunity to truly put this state on the right track. I got here in 1988, and I don't remember a time where you could have been more excited to go to the polls and vote. We can make history having 5 African-American women right now that are running for constitutional office. We can send Georgia's first woman to Washington, D.C. We can put a governor back where they're supposed to be. We can do all these things. But if we sit down and we're not excited, look, I didn't drive 3.5 hours from coming to Georgia to just be comfortable, calm, and collective as a Democrat. I don't think anyone in here is average or mediocre. I think that we know that we have a tremendous job ahead of us. But it's going to take us knocking on our neighbors' doors. It's going to take us talking to Republicans, even though they may think different, they're voting against their interests. And when we let them know what it is they're voting against, I believe some of them might have enough common sense. If common sense were common, everybody would have it. So unfortunately, we've got to do a little bit more work. But on a serious note, we've got to be, as Democrats, more serious about our platform. Know your platform. Meet each and every one of these statewide candidates. Do your part. And I guarantee you, in November, we'll win. When I get elected, let me just share this with you and I'll take my seat. District 4, this is a statewide election, but District 4 covers the entire northern part of Georgia, the most conservative part of Georgia. With your support, you can send me to the Public Service Commission and we'll have a Democrat representing the most conservative part of the state. And in 2016, we'll send the president back to the White House. Thank you all so much. God bless you. And let's go ahead and win in November.
Democratic nominee for Labor Commissioner, Robbin Shipp.
Democrat, I think of it as a descriptive word, for we are the party of Franklin Delano Roosevelt. We're the party of John Fitzgerald Kennedy, Lyndon Johnson, Jimmy Carter, Bill Clinton, and Barack Obama. We're the party of Sam Nunn, Sanford Bishop, David Scott, John Barrow, Hank Johnson. We're the party of John Lewis. We're the party of Shirley Franklin. We are gay, we are straight, we are Latino, we are Asian, we're African American, we're Caucasian. We are gun enthusiasts and environmentalists. We are teachers, homemakers, union members, and business owners. We are as different as there are stars in the night. Yet, we embrace our differences and include all under our big tent. I am honored and deeply humbled to be your Democratic nominee for Labor Commissioner. I run to be the next Labor Commissioner for the state of Georgia because gone are the days where a woman should earn less than her male counterpart. Pay equality must be implemented today. We have more fellow Georgians today living in poverty than we have seen in over 40 years. We have 33% of all of our children living in poverty. All right, we must implement a livable wage. A livable wage that tracks our inflationary indices such that our lowest waged earners will no longer have to file for welfare benefits in order to put food on the table and keep a roof over their family's head. We must raise the minimum wage to a livable wage, and as your labor commissioner, I will advocate for that every day I am in office. We must return the Labor Department to the people, to the citizens it was designed to serve. Gone will be the days when our fellow Georgians who find themselves separated from employment at no fault of their own are treated as worse than second-class citizens. Gone will be the day of your having an indifferent and contemptuous labor commissioner. I will restore a dignified and respectful treatment for all. Now, this fight that we do today, throughout this summer and the fall, is truly a war, and we are waging this war for the future of the citizens of our great state. I have had the privilege and the pleasure to go from county to county for vote and vote. I have been to Dade County and Chatham County, Muskogee County and Clark County, Dougherty County and Early County, Bibb and Carroll and Pike and Greene and Putnam and Fulton and Sumter and Monroe. And as I have gone from county to county, you have joined me and you have declared your support, not just for me, but for our entire ticket, because what all of us want to see, I'm gonna tell you what you want to see. What all of us want to see is that after we wage this war all across this great state, and we leave everything that is us on this field, that we wake up on that Wednesday following that Tuesday's election to a better Georgia, to a state that serves all of its citizens, working families, children, all of the state of Georgia. God bless you all. God bless the United States of America. And God bless the great state of Georgia. Thank you.
Please welcome the Democratic nominee for School Superintendent, Valerie Wilson.
You as your nominee for State School Superintendent. You know, in March, I began this journey with 5 other amazing women who believe passionately in our children in this state. I'd like to express right now, so everyone can hear, my deep appreciation to those ladies, because we elevated the conversation about education in this state. We made people pay attention to the issues that are critical to making sure that our children receive a quality public education. I am excited about that. I also want to thank Democratic legislators. I want to thank the Georgia Association of Educators, the American Federation of Teachers, the AFL-CIO and its affiliates, parents, students, and community members for supporting me and getting me to this stage today. You all have taken a stand for children, and you've taken a stand based on the profound belief that all children deserve a quality public education. You know, we stand today at a defining moment, a moment when our public education system is under attack. Our children's futures are being shortchanged, and our constitutional promise of an adequate public education is being threatened. Today, there are districts across this state that began the school year with less than a 180-day calendar, with classrooms that are overcrowded, fewer teachers and more students, fewer school psychologists, social workers, and counselors. And the kicker, we did all of this with less dollars. They are giving us less dollars to do the work. But Democrats, I want you to know something. We are better than this. Georgia is better than this. This state is better blaming them for a failed public education policy. We've driven 9,000 teachers away from the profession over the past 5 years. And I want you to hear this today from me as I stand here. We have some of the best educators in this country, in the state of Georgia. This state is more decent than causing students to lose weeks and weeks of critical classroom hours that they will never be able to make up, particularly when we know that a full 180-day schedule allows them to be successful. We are a more compassionate people in the state of Georgia, but our state underfunds public education, leaving too many of our children with uncertain futures. I stand before you today to say, stop it. Georgians, whether you are a Democrat, Republican, or an independent, I am telling you that all across this state, they are saying, stop it. Georgia legislature, a Republican-led legislature that is killing our children's future. We owe it to the children of this state to seize this moment. We've got to move Common Core forward. We've got to ensure that educators, administrators, parents, students, and teachers are engaged as we do that. We've got to create a funding formula that is fair to all children, that creates and takes into account the districts, whether you are metro or rural. We've got to empower teachers and provide them with the tools and the resources to get it done. And we've got to engage parents across this state in a substantive manner that allows them to become true partners in the education of their children. I believe with every fiber of my being, and I say that a lot, but I believe with every fiber of my being that I will win this election on November 4th. I believe that with every fiber of my being. But here's what I gotta have you all do. I've gotta have you get the vote out. You guys have gotta get the vote out. You've got to host fundraisers, you've got to host rallies, you've got to make phone calls, and you've got to send emails. And when you do that, you will be standing for the children of Georgia. Please, I need you to stand up on your feet, and I need you to say, we stand for Georgia's children. 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 Thank you, thank you.
Please welcome the Democratic nominee for Insurance Commissioner, Liz Johnson.
Good day, everyone. I am Elizabeth Liz Johnson, and it's because of you and over 200,000 Georgians that I am engaged in this historic race as a woman and your Democratic nominee for Commissioner of Insurance. In 1973, I made a career decision that evolved into a mission to protect consumers and their families' financial security through their insurance. Today, 41 years later, my mission remains the same. You see, we purchase insurance so when, not if, but when the unexpected happens, our financial security is protected. Elected by the people for the people, the Commissioner of Insurance is the executive branch of Georgia government that regulates the insurance industry, the small loans industry, our fire safety, and manufactured housing. The current insurance commissioner, Ralph Hudgens, is wrong for Georgians. In fact, a recent survey ranks Georgia 3rd in the nation with the highest average annual auto insurance premiums. Alan and Melanie Witry, they thought they'd save money moving to Georgia. They were able to get, yes, more house for less money, but then they discovered their auto insurance was twice as expensive. Well, Georgians, while our car and homeowners insurance premiums are skyrocketing, Ralph's main focus is taking affordable health care away from the many Georgians who need it most. He is wrong for Georgians. By verbalizing his blatant intent to obstruct the Affordable Care Act and block Medicaid expansion, he has fallen short in his role. You see, without the Affordable Care Act, health insurance companies would continue to say no to Georgians who have pre-existing medical conditions. Young adults up to age 26 would have no health insurance unless they could afford it themselves. And discriminatory practices of gender rating against women would continue. Without Medicaid expansion, over 600,000 hardworking, low-wage earning Georgians remain uninsured, and rural hospitals will continue to close. How about our veterans? Do we have any veterans here today? We thank you. It's because of you that we enjoy the freedoms that we have in this country. Well, Georgians, would you believe approximately 56,000 of our veterans and 28,000 of their spouses are without health care? With Medicaid expansion, nearly 25,000 of our uninsured veterans and 7,000 of their uninsured spouses could have health coverage. So my question to every one of you today is this: how can we expect the Georgians I've mentioned and the many I haven't mentioned to continue caring for our needs and protecting our freedoms when we as a people, as a state, as a community, deny them the very same care, compassion, and respect they give us in their chosen careers or service? It's time, everyone. It's time to put Georgians first. As your next Commissioner of Insurance, I will protect your right to affordable health care. I will share, and notice I said I will share in the fight for Medicaid expansion to help cover our many uninsured Georgians. I will work to ensure that regulations protect Georgians from excessive insurance premiums and insurance fraud. I will further improve our fire safety in our workplaces, our homes, and our gathering places. And I will put Georgians, you, first. In closing, here is what I know about the Democratic Party. You see, in the face of the party of no, sworn to block our every achievement, even when in the best interest of Americans, we continue to stand. Our vision for America is an inclusive nation that embraces diversity of race, religion, age, wealth, and lifestyle. We fight for our children, for women's rights, for access to top quality education and affordable health care. By the way, in the first year of enrollment, over 300,000 Georgians have enrolled. Our vision would improve the quality of everyone's life and the security of our financial futures. So you see, delegates and guests, we are better than the party of no. And because we are better, the entire Democratic slate needs your votes and the voting masses to make this vision happen. As for me, Liz Johnson, from North Georgia to South Georgia, from East Georgia to West Georgia, from the rooter to the tutor, I ask for your financial support today, and I ask for your votes in the upcoming November general election. I am Elizabeth Liz Johnson, your Democratic nominee for Commissioner of Insurance, and I most humbly thank you, and I approve this message.
Please welcome the Democratic nominee for Commissioner of Agriculture, Chris Irvin.
Good evening, Democrats of Georgia. Hello, Dublin. It's great to be here. It's an honor and privilege to be down here in Dublin, Georgia. There's no other place I'd rather be today. You know, over a year ago, I reached out on the internet, probably like most people, to my friend Jason Carter, and I said, man, you're the guy who can bring us out of this gloom in our great state. And little did I know that our brave Chairman DeBose Porter would be giving me a call to run for office for Democrats, and that's why I'm here today to support Democrats. It's great to be in this conference center named after our fearless chairman today. Well, you know, Georgia faces some mighty big challenges. We've experienced billions of dollars of loss in agriculture. A lot of that's due to immigration reform. You know, that comes from people that do not understand economics in this state, who don't understand long-term finance. When we kick our workforce out of this great state, you know, we experienced nearly $500 million loss in state coffers, not only billions of dollars of loss in Georgia's agriculture. So, you know, our mission is to protect, preserve, and grow Georgia's agriculture. We must protect our families from the food that we are consuming, from our mothers to our children, our seniors in our centers, our children in our schools. We must do that from the top down, strengthen our regulatory and inspection methods, assigning people by their expertise and not just textbook knowledge. You know, me and my brothers in this crowd today, we nearly lost our mother over a year ago due to E. coli, so she suffered for 29 days and still has complications from that. So, you know, food safety and protecting our families here in Georgia is very important and will not be taken lightly once I'm elected. Second, we must preserve Georgia's agriculture. You know, Georgia agriculture around the state, our small and mid-sized farms are very disconnected right now by the profit-driven agribusiness entities that now control our constitutional seat there, as we have put a lobbyist into the agriculture commissioner spot, and that's very dangerous. It's very important that we represent our small and mid-sized farms every time that policies are coming in front of us, and make sure they are represented. We need to make sure that the Department of Agriculture is not led by people who are only going to change policy to benefit big business, and that's a very dangerous situation. Down in South Georgia with the Vide and onion growers, we've experienced this type of dictatorship where the constitutional officer, the commissioner, he's decided to bypass the legislation and impose new shipping dates upon some of our farmers, and this is clearly to flood the market with the produce. You know, these big power brokers that he once represented, you know, they're the ones that buy the price of onions. They're the ones that dictate the price. When you flood the market with the onions, then we have to take the price that is given or sell them all out of the back of the truck, and y'all know that our farmers cannot do that. So preserving Georgia's agriculture is a huge responsibility, and it's something we need to return to the great state. There's areas in Georgia's agriculture where we can grow and improve on Georgia's agriculture. We have emerging markets and olives and bison, aquaponic fisheries. We have viticulture around the state. We have agritourism around the state. You know, we can start by doing this in our state's farmer markets who have fell upon failed promises by the current commissioner. You know, as I travel the state, I see this huge disconnect that exists in these markets, and you know, we can revitalize them. We can put in working educational centers, greenhouses, areas where we can get the younger generation to come and experience agriculture, and what a great asset it is to this great state. You know, emerging markets like I talked about are also areas where we can invest that are very important to us. So, you know, Georgia's agriculture is the #1 industry in the state. You know, at one time it brought in $70 billion. You know, we're at about $65 billion it brings into the state now. So, you know, we need to get back on track with that. We need to put leadership back into the Department of Agriculture that will take care of all of our farming community and not just the special interests that help get them elected and wants to pay the taxes. You know, I want to close in saying that, you know, all my life I've been a Democrat. People know my grandfather, he was a Democrat. People know the individuals that are on this slate right here and how we serve the great state of Georgia and how we were exposed, you know. And we are answering that call. We have stood upon the shoulders of giants, and we are out here to let you know this is going to be a great year for Democrats. We cannot win without the people in this room. There is no doubt about it. You have a great slate of candidates over there, from Daniel Blackman and Doreen Carter, Robbin, Shipp, Liz Johnson, Greg Hecht. You know, we got Michelle Nunn, we got Chris Irvin, and we got Jason Carter. These are people who will turn this state around. These are people who will bring integrity back to the state of Georgia. You know? So, I want to thank everybody for having me here tonight. I hope you reach out and help all of us. Reach out to Irvin4Ag.com. Not hard to find, and make sure everybody gets the vote out. And God bless y'all. God bless the Democratic Party in the state of Georgia. Thank you very much.
DuBose asked me to be short, so I came as I am. I want to thank all of the Democratic delegates. I want to thank the committee, the chair, all of our officers, all of the great people that are going to ensure that we have great turnout this year, which we're very excited about. Now, it was a little while back while I had the great opportunity to serve as a state representative and a state senator, and before that an assistant district attorney. And we thought, my wife Sherry and I thought we were going to be retired from politics for a long time. But we got blessed about 4.5 years ago, and it'll explain a little bit as to why we decided to get back into service. About 4.5 years ago, we got a strange call. We were putting in for adoption for a baby. And we put our profile out on the internet through an agency. And strangely enough, we got a call, one of those God plan things, where someone said, we have twin 4-year-olds that want to be in your family. These girls had been through a Department of Family and Children's Services in another state and had been to many different homes. We were blessed to take them into our home and learn about their background and them learn about our background. Some of the things that occurred are unbelievable, but the Lord helped us get through us with hard work and love and discipline and the opportunity to grow forward. They've become very strong, wonderful children, and we've been blessed, as I say, with 3 daughters, 2 female dogs, and 1 wife. So I am blessed and directed every day. So we got the call from Michelle Nunn, Governor Barnes, and many others that said, we'd like you to run for Attorney General. And I looked behind my shoulder. But the issue that really got to us was the fact what you and I all know, and that you read in the paper today, 180 children whose families had a history with the Department of Family and Children Services died of abuse and neglect in Georgia in 1 year. That was in 2013. In 2012, 152 children went through the same tragedy. And thousands more go through suffering and abuse every single day. The Attorney General of this state and the Department of Family and Children Services have decided that a one-size-fits-all protocol works. They continue to put children in need, children who have been removed from homes for abuse, neglect, and worse, back into homes where there's drug abuse, alcohol abuse, and family violence. Now that's got to stop. $3,000 child abuse investigations have not gone in accordance with the law's timeline to protect children. That is a lack of leadership from the top law enforcement officer of the state of Georgia. 49% of the child fatality review committees have not completed their child fatality reviews showing what the cause of the death was in compliance with the law. And the law enforcement officer, again, has failed to do his job. If you fail to lead, others will fail their jobs. Similarly, you will find that the Attorney General, Mr. Owens, has found his way into the paper today again as well. Because we are 50th out of 50 states in enforcing public corruption and ethics laws according to the Center for Public Integrity in 2012. As opposed to investigating corruption, our Attorney General believes it's right to allow for corruption, to hide evidence, to be complicit in whatever is going on in the governor's office, and to not appoint an independent counsel to investigate. When in May of 2011, draft subpoena by the Republican-appointed ethics director and Republican-appointed deputy director were presented to the Attorney General's office showing violations of the law or potential violations, what did the Attorney General do? Nothing. He let the deputy director and ethics director get squeezed out so there'd be no investigation. There have been only whistleblowers to make a difference. In the state of Georgia, because Attorney General Sam Owens never initiated an independent counsel investigation, the former Republican ethics director, Republican former deputy director, the IT officer, and former attorney had to bring their own whistleblower suits to investigate corruption and bring justice. But it cost the taxpayers $3 million that could have been utilized for child services, for working families, for people in need, but it's not. Because this Attorney General doesn't get his job. His job is to investigate corruption and protect Georgia families, and he doesn't get it. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? What what are we going to do? That's what we're going to do. Now, what we need you to do is this tremendous slate of Democratic candidates has just got an opportunity. It spans a beautiful, wonderful consensus of all people in this state, of all races, religions, color, creed, national origin, sexual orientation, opportunity for people to come together and work together to make a difference for our families, and we can do it together. For our campaign, what do we need you to do? For our campaign for Attorney General, we need you to give them Hecht. And how do we do it? We need to go to www.greghecht.com. We need you to sign in. We need you to put the voters into the booths, contribute a little bit if you can, and tell others it's time to turn the House over to people that will put justice above politics. It is time to eliminate a one-size-fits-all reunification protocol that puts children back where there is drug abuse, alcohol abuse, and family violence, to provide children's mental health care, to provide safe homes, to give people services so that they can get off drug and alcohol, and to allow for the forgotten people to have an opportunity to succeed so that Georgians are protected and their lives and futures are well developed. It is time to have an opportunity for Democrats to rise up, show leadership, put justice above politics, and protect everyday Georgians. God bless you. Give them Hecht. Thank you for all you do.
Please welcome the Democratic nominee for Secretary of State, Doreen Carter.
To be here with you today. It is time for us to stand up and stand up for our rights. I am Doreen Carter. I am your next Secretary of State. I'm happy to join you today in what will go down in Georgia's history as the greatest Democratic Party convention in the history of our nation. Thank you, Chairman Porter, for your leadership and hospitality for hosting us in your town, Dublin, Georgia. Thank you, State Committee and staff, for all of your support and planning for this event, because it has been phenomenal. 50 years ago, who would have imagined that Georgia would have a slate of candidates as amazing as the ones that we have here today? You've chosen a phenomenal slate of candidates. We're sending a woman to Washington, our next U.S. Senator, Michelle Nunn. Yeah. We have a legacy of candidates with our Governor, Jason Carter, our Agriculture Commissioner, Chris Irvin. We have Attorney General Greg Hecht, and our Public Service Commissioner, Daniel Blackman. Now, if that was not exciting enough for you, we have this historical ticket of the Fabulous Five. Johnson, Connie Stokes, Robbin, Shipp, Valerie Wilson, and of course, Doreen Carter. Now, I am proud to accept the nomination for Secretary of State. I am humbled to be here with you, my fellow Democrats. I'm humbled by the grace of God on my life and grateful that He is allowing me to serve in the most critical time in the life of Georgians. Our state is in trouble. Yes. But now we have hope. Our future is here with us today, and I say thank you, party leaders, because you all worked so hard to get us elected, and we say thank you to you. And as I was preparing, I was just thinking about this moment that we're in, and I started to have a dream. I have a dream today that on November the 4th, 2014, on these red clay hills of Georgia, that we will stand together and celebrate the reality of our blue state. Now, it is up to us to pull this off, but united, we will stand, and we will stand in victory. Let's keep the faith. Faith in our candidates. Keep the faith in our fellow Democrats. It is our season. It is our time. Georgia is blue now. But all we need is you. You guys are great. This Democratic Party is strong. We can win. We will win. We are fired up and we are ready to go. Now, as your Secretary of State, I am committed to improving operational effectiveness in the Secretary of State's office by ensuring that your calls are answered and your issues, somebody knows what I'm talking about, and your issues are resolved with the highest level of professionalism. I vow to expand business opportunities that will spur innovation, create new markets, support clean energy technology. We're committed to empowering economic growth by supporting education and job creation. We support fully funding education in Georgia. We will work with Governor Carter to create jobs all around our great state. Now, most importantly, I am committed to protecting your voter rights. We will increase access to voting all around our state. We're going to work together. Now, here's something that we just must all be tired of, because I tell you, no longer am I willing to sit back, and I hope that you're tired and will not sit back and allow the blatant discrimination of the Republican Party in drawing voting lines, voting districts that creates disparities. Enough is enough. Today, we draw a line in the stand and we say we stand up for democracy. We are Democrats. Now, I don't know about you, but being a Democrat means something to me, because the Democratic Party that I have loved and I support love people. And what we've seen in our state is a group of people who have forgotten that they are humans. Let's say, let's get rid of these people, let's go to work, let's hire this Democratic ticket from the top all the way to the bottom. When you're out canvassing and when you're out campaigning, let's encourage every registered voter to get out and vote. Let's eliminate the excuses. But when you talk to them, tell them to start at the top. And what did you say this morning? Go all the way down. Listen, thank you for your time. I am Doreen Carter, your next Secretary of State, the woman of every. I am committed to meeting the needs of every voter, every business, and every professional on every level. God bless you. God bless America. God bless Georgia. And God bless the Democrats. And we are ready to go. And ready to go. Let's turn Georgia blue.
Please welcome the Democratic nominee for Lieutenant Governor, Georgia's very own former state senator and DeKalb County Commissioner, Connie Stokes.
hardest working staff, that staff at the Georgia Democratic Party, for putting all of this together. I thank you for all of your efforts in convening us here today. To my family, I thank you for your encouragement and support all the time. And hello, Democrats. I thank you. If you are in this room, I want you to know that I just love you so much, and I thank you for being here today. I thank you for what you've been doing. I've been all over the state, and I thank you for what we're going to do in November. Pleasure that I accept the Democratic nomination to become the next Lieutenant Governor of the great state of Georgia. I want to Lieutenant Governor leaders who will put the people first, so that they can take care of their families, put food on the table. That when I travel around the state, those are the kind of issues that people talk to me about. They want to be able to pay their rent on time. They want to be able to buy health care. And after serving in the state senate for 10 years, the county commission, after serving as the 4 years to Governor Barnes, spokesperson for Governor Barnes, I have traveled all over the state, from Baldwin County to Bill County. I've traveled from Catawba County to Chatham County. And I've traveled from DeKalb County to Decatur County. And here's what I found. The people of Georgia's rural areas, they want a bright future and a better life for themselves, their children, and their grandchildren. Republicans have cut billions of dollars from education over the past decade, and we must make education a priority in this state for the children of Georgia. And I believe, thank you, I believe in fully funding pre-K programs, reducing class sizes, and training people who have lost their jobs, training people who cannot find a job, and supporting our HOPE grant so that the technical schools, people can go to technical schools. And you know, people have had to drop out of technical school because the Republicans have so many cuts until they can't even finish. They can't find a job. They can't get any training. It's because they've been abandoned. And we must protect the HOPE grant. We must protect the HOPE grant so that we can have our young people go to technical schools and be able to get a job, and they will feel that we are there for them. As a senator, one of my greatest experiences was chairing the Senate Health Committee, working hard to get affordable health care for the people of Georgia. Now, I ask you this question today. I want to ask you this question. Why is it my opponent did not stand up to expand Medicaid? Why does he not want to save the lives of people who cannot get to the hospital? They cannot get to the hospital because the hospitals are closed and closing around this state. And he missed a chance to create jobs for the people of Georgia. Over 70,000 jobs we could have had with expanding Medicaid. And I want you to know, when I'm elected as Lieutenant Governor, I will be your advocate and your voice for expanding Medicaid to ensure hundreds of thousands of people. I will fight to keep these community hospitals open. I will fight to expand Medicaid to create over 70,000 jobs, bringing in over $40 billion into this economy so that that will benefit all of us, the people all over this state. My opponent says that the governor is doing an awesome job. He must be talking about his fellow bankers and their friends because the people of Georgia say they're not doing so awesome. And so they have got to go. We've just got to send them packing. But I came here also to tell you today why I care so deeply about these issues. And I just feel just the pain of people that I've talked to, so many of you traveling around this state. And that's because I was born in South Georgia. I was raised in the city of Atlanta. I was born in Sumter County. I grew up in the old 4th Ward. It was not called the old 4th Ward when I was there, but it's the old 4th Ward, historic 4th Ward now. And I've been in Georgia all my life. And when people tell me about struggles, I know about struggles because I was raised by my grandmother who was a maid. And the reason I live with my grandmother is because my mom was an alcoholic and I did not know my father. And my grandmother had a 6th grade education. And when she got her factory job as a young girl, I had to go to work with her at the factory. So I have worked all of my life. I worked hard all of my life. And so when people see that I've accomplished things, I only tell that story to let them know that I feel the pain of people in this state who are struggling all over this state. And this is what I tell them. Beware of the naysayers, because the naysayers are out there. And I know I'm standing here only by the grace of God. And when people tell me I can't win, I don't even hear them. We do not, and we have to believe that way. We cannot even hear them. Stay away from the naysayers. But I was told I wouldn't even graduate from high school because I was a teen mom. And I graduated anyway. The naysayers, those naysayers, they told me I couldn't go to college. I went to college and graduated anyway. The naysayers were still there when I said, well, I think I'm going to get a master's degree. And of course they said, well, who does she think she is? But the naysayers, I do not listen to the naysayers, so I went on and did that anyway. Also, the naysayers was there when I said I was going to run for the state senate, when I was first elected to the senate, and the naysayers said, you can't beat an incumbent, and I won anyway. I want you to know I'm going to be there fighting for you every single day. And that's what we have to do. And this year's a special year. And the reason it's so special is because we have an unprecedented number of women on the ballot. 6 women on the ballot. 6 women on the ballot. And you know what we have to remember, if you want to change the game, you got to change the players. We do not have one woman currently serving statewide. All the statewide offices are held by Republican men, and they need to go. They need to go. Let's turn Georgia blue by electing this phenomenal state of candidates. I'm just going to be a few more minutes, and what I want to say to you is that this is my promise to you today. As your Lieutenant Governor, I will serve every single day working for you to have a better future and a better life. And I want to leave you with one of my favorite quotes, and it was from Thomas Edison. And he said this on the discovery of the light bulb. Here's what he said. Our greatest weakness lies in giving up. The most certain way to succeed is always to try one more time. That's what I've lived my life like. Try one more time. When we are phone banking, we got to make one more call. On one more door. We got to give one more dollar, because every vote counts and every dollar counts twice. We have to leave here Stokes, I'm